I think way too into the future. So yesterday in the shower, I was thinking about how I think way too into the future or kind of way too into the past maybe, but that I have trouble kind of staying in thinking about the recent past or the recent future, aka the actions that took you that most recently took you to where you are now, or the actions that are most likely to take you to where you want to go next, right? And I was thinking about this more in the thought sparked because I was thinking of it in in the context of me liking people, whether platonically or romantically, finding someone cool or interesting or something like that, and jump on my brain kind of jumping too quickly to thinking the range shit like wonder if they would be cool with me visiting them to their house in their country when we've barely talked about anything, or in a romantic setting, for example. um, I wonder how a regular day of marriage between us would be like when there hasn't been even a sign of reciprocity before, right? Or not even a sign of romantic interest from their part. On that thing, ContraPoints has a video called Shame, and she has this bit that really resonated with this kind of thinking of mine, which I'm going to play now.
But whenever I think about having a long-term partner, not the wedding day, but the 1000th morning waking up together, I can only imagine her being a woman.
The video is about her coming out as a lesbian after being with men and stuff like that. So that's the context. But yeah, I really resonated with this 1000th morning, right? Because she kind of talks about this in a positive way, right? She is coming out as a lesbian and saying this is the proof of me realizing something about myself, right? But my spin on that was kind of fuck. I'm thinking these fucking deranged thoughts that people use to self identify more accurately with themselves, and I'm using them as fucking deranged cope from something, right? And discussing this on Twitter. Well, I tweeted basically this video out before making it a video to see what happened, and I got some cool replies. And one of these replies was a podcast, and in this podcast, for example, I found an interesting bit.
And I think what happened for you, Monica, is that you just shut down because you felt rejected, you felt other, you felt shameful. So you just shut that down and you overcompensated with your intellect. Right. That's the way that you got through. But the problem is that these become adaptive strategies in our brains and in our nervous systems. And so
So I found that bit related to that. It's that you overcompensate with kind of intellect or something like that. Because even if the 1000th night thought that I get isn't really a thought and more of a feeling, I guess, it's still kind of, it's still some kind of thought loop, I guess, that comes up when it shouldn't, right? It's some kind of overcompensation, and instead of going through, as I said here, instead of going through the 999 nights before, instead of saying, okay, let's get that first night in, or something like that, I just fucking go to the 1000th night in my brain, right? And that's kind of cope by over-intellectualizing shit. And that sucks bad. And relating to the past, I have a weirder relationship with it. I don't remember very well. Not sure if everyone remembers badly their past, because I guess you cannot remember everything. But I remember bits, like small bits of the past. I kind of jump between moments instead of thinking of time as something continuous and being able to sense some kind of narrative that, well, not necessarily a narrative, I can do that, but I don't know, like some feeling of continuous growth or something like that. I sometimes get glimpses of stuff, but I have like bad recall of the past. In another reply that I got in this thread that I posted before making the video, by Visa, who has featured it in a lot of my previous videos. He links a past thread of his where he talks about how he experiences time, and I related to some bits of that. For example, in this tweet here, I just selected here. In this tweet, he talks about two ways of living in the present, right? Which is the thing that I think I couldn't do. That's why I don't remember the past well, because if you are not in the past, you cannot remember it well. That's why I think I don't remember the past, because I wasn't really present, right? So I think that he sets two ways. He thinks that there are two ways of living in the present. One he calls mindful, and one he calls mechanical. And he says that he's always been bad at living in the mechanical now and stuff like that. And I agree with that. And I think I am like with that way too. I wrote here that I think I can accurately detect that mechanical time is fake, right? So I feel supported by myself, and I feel smart about having figured that out, right? It feels right. And so me thinking about time in a wider scoped lens, both in terms of the future or in terms of some kind of narrative that goes from the past to the future, because I can do that, right? I cannot accurately remember myself in periods of time, but I can only remember maybe moments, but I can trace a narrative from those points to the future in a way that sounds cool in my mind, and in a way that I think people just don't do because they are too focused living in the present for that, right? And I think I can do that. And I think that is good, and that is kind of seeing the world in a more zoomed out way, in a way that can be helpful and it's relatively uncommon for people to do, I guess. But that on the other hand, I basically I'm not good with the mindful, because for example, he says that he is good with the mindful. He says, I'm pretty decent, not great at living in the mindful now, but this was like 4 years ago, so he probably is now better at that. But I'm not good at that still. I think I'm trying to change that, and my next video is going to be about it. But it's still not something that I do well, not even recently, I think. There are counted moments that I think I was living in the present and that I did enjoy. Well, or maybe not enjoy, but yeah, that I was mindful there. But I think it's kind of in the third person. Most of my memories that are in the third person because they have been fed to me, right? It's like remembering with someone else. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. I remember because someone just reminded me. But I don't remember them like by myself, I guess. I get reminded. And also, there's another possibility that is maybe that I'm not accurately remembering how it was feeling present. That my brain has somehow changed, and that I was being present when I was a kid. I was present and all that stuff, and I wasn't dissociated or anything, but that I simply became dissociated later, right? So when I was a kid, I was all present and stuff like that, but I'm unable to remember that correctly or something like that. And yeah, I wanted to, basically that's the end. That's what all I had to say for today. Well, for now, for this video. But I wanted to end the video by thanking young Alterwix legend for providing this and for conversating and stuff like that. And it's interesting. And also, of course, Visa for his thoughts in general from a long time ago, and for this interaction in particular. And yeah, when I go to you guys' house, hope we have a great time there. No, but jokes aside, thank you for continuing the conversation and all that. And yeah, I think this has given me the good idea of tweeting my thread before, then making the video, then tweeting it again, or like linking it below or something like that. So yeah, basically, this was the 38th video in my 100 video series. I talk a lot about random shit, and if you like this one, you will probably enjoy at least one of those 37 other videos. So yeah, feel free to check them out, and yeah, bye.